All round, there it is. Happy days. We're just getting straight on with it. Right then guys, welcome to another episode of Hooked. My name's John Murray and I'm an angling addict, and today I'm down on the banks of the River Derwent at Stamford Bridge. Now, didn't really know what to do today. I'm at a loss for matches this weekend, so I've nothing on. So the world's my oyster basically. Didn't get up too early this morning. I've been suffering with pretty much a chest infection and a bit of a cold all week, so I haven't been feeling 100%. So a bit of a last minute decision. The time now is 11:30 in the morning, and I've just got down here and had a look at the river and brought a feeder rod and basically a float rod, which was set up with a waggler on. But looking at the pace of the river today, it's really moving through. I'm quite surprised actually. Spoke to a couple of lads upstream and they'd been up to the wharf at Boston Spa and they said it was just unfishable. The river had come up rapidly overnight and it looked absolutely perfect on the gauges yesterday, so just goes to show you should always check the gauges first thing on the morning before you set off. So luckily for me, I always bring a little bit of a backup plan with me, and I had a few stick floats in the bag, some Avons and some chubbers. Now this is Hull and District water, and the section here is actually below the bridge at Stamford Bridge, and it's about 6 foot deep. I've got a little bit of a crease on the inside, but it's still moving through quite rapidly. So the simple intention right now is just to loose feed maggots, and I've set up a 3.2 gram or 4 AAA Avon style float. So I'll show you that in a moment, but I'm just having a brew. And while I'm having my brew, I'll keep feeding some maggots in, and I'll just build the swim up. Hopefully we'll get into a few days, maybe some roach, and fingers crossed the odd chub or two. Now I was down here a few weeks ago, had some nice chub out on the feeder, and I have got the tip rod with me. It's fairly heavy setup because there's always a chance of a barbel down here as well. So with that in mind, I came with a few lobworms in the bag, and I've got a bit of cheese paste as well. But as I say, probably only going to get about 4 hours fishing today, so we'll just have to see how it goes. May just be a float session this. Yeah, we'll see what we get out basically. Right guys, as ever, if you enjoyed the videos, don't forget to give them a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode every time I upload one. I'm going to finish this coffee, get some maggots in the swim, and we'll get some fishing done. Stay tuned. Right, so as I say, the float today is a 3.2 gram 4 AAA Drennan Crystal Avon. That's shotted with a string of 13 number 1s, a number 4 dropper, just above a quick change swivel, 0.10 Preston reflow hook length, around about 10 inches of that, down to a size 16 midi specimen match hook. I can't remember the model name of it. Line today is the Dave Harrell Match Pro in £3. It's 0.14 diameter and it's lovely stuff. That's teamed up with a 2,500 Daiwa Ninja Black and Gold series reel and the 13 foot Acolyte Plus. Okay, so that's coffee break over. I'm going to start out on double red maggot. I have only brought maggots today. And as I say, I'm just going to trot this off the end of the rod. I'm not going to go far out at all because it is really running down there. Probably pushing through on the inside at a good metre a second. That's why I've gone for the Avon. It's got plenty of holding back power. And just trip it off the finger on the reel. Just slow its run. And that is a fish right down at the bottom of the run. Got a big tree just overhanging on the inside down there. First cast, and we've got a dace. Double red maggot. No keep net today, just going to pop them all straight back. I'm going to keep the bait going in. Now that was quite well down the run that, so I may start introducing the bait higher up because obviously the pace of the river is taking it downstream, and if I can catch them a bit closer up the, or higher up the river, that'll be ideal. When you're targeting a river like this, if you see where the faster water meets the slower water, that's usually the line to be on when you're trotting a float. It's a natural food gathering point. As food washes out of the main flow and gathers in the slower flow on the inside. So they often say that you will cast over the top of more fish than you'll ever catch. So it's just something to bear in mind. Now unfortunately that's another fish, but that's a minnow, and that's the problem on the Derwent. Fishing maggot, you do catch an awful lot of minnows. So as long as we're getting bites, it pays to just keep that bait going in quite heavy. There is always the off chance of hooking a barbel on the float, and 0.10 bottom isn't really strong enough to deal with them in here. Probably need 0.15 minimum on the float rod, and I even fish 0.24 on the feeder or the bomb. So I'm just catching bottom a little bit as I'm going down the inside there, and possibly minnows. Yeah, you think it's bottom, but it's minnows. Now if you've never seen the stick float fishing video that I did above the bridge last year, I'll put a link to it up here. Go and check it out after this one. But basically I was catching minnows there, and I think I put 7 maggots on the hook and they were still taking the bait. So putting loads of maggots on doesn't solve the problem. Well, that's the beauty of fishing on this river. One trot down it can be a minnow, next trot a dace, next trot a great big perch, or you might even hook into a chub or a barbel. We might still be catching bottom a little bit, might just need to take a couple of inches off till we stop dragging under. So it's always difficult to determine whether that's minnows or bottom. I think that is bottom. I'm just going to shallow up just a couple of inches. That tells me at least the bulk is working effectively and getting the bait down in the fast flow. That's another fish. There's like another minnow. Getting minnowed to death. Look at the size of that. Tiniest minnows. It's gone for double red maggot. Just keep plenty of bait going in. It's almost impossible to feed them off. They are insatiable. You just got to hope the bigger fish come in and bully them out. There's a nice trot down the inside. This. Trotting on the crease, just moving through that bit slower. I expect we may even get hold of a decent perch down here. If we can get through the minnows. Oh, that's a better fish. Further down the run. Down towards that tree again. Just out into the flow a little bit. I think that's probably where we hooked the first one. But just coming on the inside too much is finding too many minnows. Just hanging off the edge of the crease. That's a lovely dace. Lovely fish. Back on the minnows. I'm just going to go a little bit further out, catch the edge of the floor, try and work my way down to that tree, and then get it on line just before it. I don't know if you can see that tree down there, but that's what I'm aiming for. And that's another fish. Better fish, just out in the flow again. Not quite as far down as the tree this time. Oh, that's another lovely dace. Beautiful. Well down the run. Down towards that tree again. This is a better fish. Could be a small chub, this. It's moved out into the middle of the river. Lovely fishing. This is so much more pleasurable than chucking a great big lead out. Oh no, it's a beautiful, beautiful roach. Absolutely beautiful roach. What a fish that is. That's a stunner. That is a stunner. That's a roach. Must be knocking. Oh, best part of a pound, that fish. What a beauty. Well, the Derwent can certainly throw up a few surprises in that picture. Just keep that bait going in every cast and pop it in before yours, and you may catch it up, or you can double feed and pop one in before, one in after, hold back and let the bait behind it catch up to the float. It's all about working it out on the day. If you're not getting bites, it's difficult to keep feeding, but you've got to keep feeding to try and draw fish up. And that's gone well down again. Feels like a dace. A lot of fish just hanging off the end of a very threadbare branch that's hanging over the river. But I'm happy catching them all day long. So bait in behind this time, but then I'll just hold the float back, let the bait catch up. Bait in first, float on top. Lovely stuff. Just held the float up slightly. With a tiny dace. Right underneath that tree. So I'm struggling to draw the fish upstream at the moment. Now we could try cutting back on the feed to pull some fish up, but then we'll probably struggle more with the minnows. So it's a bit of a balancing act. Probably the best thing to do is get some bait in to start with, get the fish feeding confidently, and then cut it down. Hopefully by that point you've fed a few minnows off, although as I say, I think it's a bit of an impossible task to do on this river. Yeah, that's another one. Nice fish down the inside, that one. Had 2 or 3 goes at striking down there, missed them. Float came inside, went again and hooked up. Nice dace. That's a roach. Nowhere near as big as the first one. Well, bonny fish anyway. Under that tree again. Third bite of the cherry again. A slightly better feeling fish. Trying to cut down the inside of my own bank, this one. Is it a small chub? I'd often do that. Could be. Or just a big dace. Big dace. Lovely fishing. Often just get a drag under in the middle of the run. Just with a couple of obstructions down there. I'm not actually catching on anything, unless it's just a shoal of minnows that are jumping straight on the maggots. Before it had gone again towards that tree. Don't take long to get down there. I'm just about underneath it now. It's like right in the kill zone. No bite. Gone through. A little bit dangerous going through. You could end up getting caught on the branches. There is one trailing in the water down there. But, that's the beauty of the float. You can guide it. It'd be impossible to reach under there with the feeder. Expected a bite there. It came a bit late. Fishing. Oh, better fish. Could be another good roach, this. Don't feel like a chub. It was sat below that tree. I trotted past the end of the branch, about 3 or 4 foot. That's when the float went. Yeah, another nice roach. Lovely fish. A little bit awkward in these pegs. There's not a great deal of room. Sat on a platform well above the water. There we go, another fantastic fish. Hooks out in the net. Let's get him back. So I'm trying to feed a little bit upstream of me now, just to try and pull the fish up a touch while still feeding relatively heavy. Danger of often feeding upstream of you is that the fish will sit directly under the bait and then you can't get to them if you're casting out, but in this pace of flow it's taking the maggots well downstream, and that's evident by the fact that the bites are coming well down there, and I've actually dropped a little bit lower on the last couple of runs. Which means you're either just introducing a bit too much feed, and therefore you need to try and get them to come up searching for feed by introducing less of it. But as I say, with the minnows that's a little bit of an issue, so trying to avoid them as well by feeding them off. I may just try cutting back shortly. Well, right down past that tree again. It's roughly where it went last time now. Yeah, it's gone. I can't really risk going any further. Oh, we've got a fish on actually. It's so small. It's another minnow. Can't see him. So I'm just going to hold off on the feed this time. See if there's a few hungry fish down there searching for a bait. The only one that's coming down this time is mine. Oh, well down the run again. Down through the tree. Only a small fish. Well, that's kind of unusual. The swim's gone a little bit quiet. We're only an hour or so into the session, and I've had 5 runs through there on pretty much the faster line, the inside line, right under the tree. Just haven't had a bite. Both maggots have come back pretty much unmarked. The nick on the end of one of them there, which is probably just from a minnow. So either there's some better fish moved in, or there's a pike in the swim, or the river's just switched off midday. I'm hoping it's the former. And finally we hooked a dace a little bit higher up the swim. And another one. A few fish moved upstream now. That one was well down again though. Still fish sat down by that tree. They're not really getting any bigger, these though. They're only tiny, tiny fish. Another fish mid trot there. Nice fish. Oh, it's a grayling. Fantastic. It's only a small one. But yeah, I thought that was a good dace to start with. But that is a baby grayling on the Derwent, taken on the Avon. Another fish right down the run. So we've got 2 pockets of fish now. one sort of quite well up the trot, another one well down by the tree. If you miss any bites on the trot in the middle, just keep it going down the bottom. So we've had roach, dace, minnows and a grayling so far. All we're looking for now is a perch and a chub. I think asking for a barbel's a bit too much. Oh, that's a nice fish down by the tree again. Maybe not as big as I first thought. Not big at all. Down by the tree again. There's another lovely little roach. Tiny roach. So we're a good couple of hours into the session now. I've had no chub or indications of them, no bigger fish really, apart from the couple of decent roach we've had, and those roach do seem to be sat down by that tree, but whether I will try the feeder, just see if we can get a better fish out, find a chub, maybe the one that's static today. Normally searching out on the float you'll find pretty much anything, but I'm not sure the bigger fish want it moving at them today. That's another fish down towards the tree. It's lovely fishing regardless. It's plump little dace, that one. The better fish certainly seems to be sat down under that tree. If you can get through there without catching a minnow, the chances are greatly improved of picking up a decent one. But we're not getting anything huge. And that's another nice roach. Right guys, I'm going to call it a day there. The light's fading a little bit, so I hope you've enjoyed that video trotting an Avon down the Derwent. I was hoping to get a few chub out, to be quite honest with you, but that hadn't happened today. But we've had a couple of lovely roach there, so what's not to like really? Trotting a float down the river, early November, yeah, it's all good. So if you got some value out of this video, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below. I do read them all and I try to respond to everybody. Right, thanks for watching guys. Until the next one, tight lines.